So, essential question, how can we write an equation given a table? And the goal of today is to figure out, or just remember, how do we, now if I'm just given the table, no words, we've got to find a rate and then a magic number. We said that this placement was the rate and that this B was the magic number. So to find the rate, we've got to find the differences. How do you jump? So the change in the X, we're adding 10. The change in the Y, we're adding 4. But the rate is going to be the change in the Y over change in the X. So let's create our own table off to the side. If we start with -10, we should end with -7. If we start with 0, we should end with -3. The rate is developed by change in the Y over change in the X, but let's also reduce. So instead of 4/10, we're going to go 2/5. So take the 2/5 times -10, and then we've got to figure out plus how much more to get me to -7. So now we're looking at -4 plus what gets us to -7. So I'll just put that magic number down here. Maybe it's -3. Let's just check it. Let's take 2/5 times 0. And if we added -3, do we get to this -3? Because 2/5 times 0... okay, that becomes 0. Add -3, we do end up there. So -3 is our magic number. The way we write a model, let's recall, you take the rate times X plus or minus the magic number, whatever it is, equals the Y column. This is our equation. So in this next example, instead of writing an equation, I didn't do this to the last example, but let's remember that that's similar to saying the word model. We're going to have to figure out the rate. So that rate I'll find maybe just at this table. Figure out how much you increase. So when we look at the jumps on the number line, our rate is going to be the change in the Y divided by change in the X. So now I'm gonna write down the first two X's and the first two Y's. If I start at -4, I should end up with 9. If I start at 2, I should end up with -3. We're trying to find that magic number. So -2 times our X plus what could get me to 9? So if this is our possibility, then let's check it. Taking -2 times 2. If we added 1 to that product, do we get to -3? Once we say yes, then we write down our model. Taking the rate times X plus the magic number, that gets us to the Y. So with the next example, see how much you can fill in yourself before I start writing it up. So let's talk about this rate. We need to figure out jumps. How far are we jumping? So with these jumps in mind, let's figure out a rate. So let's go back to you, Faith. Looking at a +3. This product is -30. How much more do I need to add to get to a -5? So we have a possible magic number. It seems outrageous. So if we take 3 times -2, 3 times -2, we're at -6. If you take -6 and add it to 25, you've got to ask yourself, do you get to 19? It does check out. So rate times the X column plus 25 gets us to the Y column. We've got our model. Something I haven't stressed though, I want you to realize that if you take this model works for the rest of these numbers. So if you ever want to check your answer, take 3 times your X column, add 25, you should get to 40. Let's just take that for a moment. 3 times 5. 3 times 5, you're at 15. And if you added 25 more, we do get to 40. If you take 3 times 11, which is 33, and you add 25, it takes me a little bit, but you do get to 58. That's how you can check these models and why we have more points to solidify our answer. We're going to practice.